Hello, everyone. My guest today is Brian Requarth. If you haven't heard him, you should know he's bootstrapped an online real estate startup in Latin America, eventually raised 74 million bucks and then merged with a competitor, sold the company for about 600 million bucks. He's a top angel investor in Latin America with over 55 investments and focused on helping building the next great generation of iconic companies in the region with his business, Latitude.com. Brian, you ready to take us to the top?
Hey, love to. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks for having me.
I want people to listen. So let's sort of build up your credibility here for a second. You bootstrapped an online real estate startup in Latin America. What was that company name?
Viva Real.
Viva Royale. Okay, and was it a marketplace model?
Yeah, it's similar to Zillow. Zillow for Brazil, if you will, Zillow Trulia, and yeah, no MLS like in the U.S. No multiple listing service, so no central database, and so we consolidated and built the largest online real estate marketplace in Latin America.
And so, how did the marketplace work? Did you just take a cut of this GMV going to the platform, or what?
We ended up initially it was just a classifieds model. So we had advertisers. We had 7 million properties across Brazil and about 35,000 real estate companies that advertised. And then we ended up building a bunch of other businesses, software as a service business. We acquired a few of those. So we became kind of a holding of a handful of different assets, but the primary business was the kind of classified marketplace business.
hmm And why couldn't you keep bootstrapping that? Why did you need to go out and raise capital to drive growth?
Well, to put it lightly, our competitors, one was backed by Tiger, and the other one was owned by the largest media company in Latin America that owned a majority of all TV stations in the country. So
hmm
I remember sitting at a cafe looking up, and they have a soap opera on TV, and they're plugging their product in the soap opera. So we needed to fight back a little bit and have some resources. We were the most underfunded out of everybody, but we ended up becoming the market leader.
And this is still live today, correct?
What's that?
Is the URL still live today?
Yeah, vivareal.com.br. We merged with a competitor, so we have Vivareal and Zap are the two kind of the assets that are the primary assets. Zap.com.br. It's all in Portuguese, so if you're so inclined.
Yep. And how did you? So walk me through going from nothing to sort of a $600 million valuation. Was that actual cash, or was it sort of a sort of phantom valuation in stock and
No,
things
we
like
we
that?
cashed out. We sold the company for $600 million, all cash.
Okay.
It was approved by the antitrust authorities in November of 2020, 6 month kind of review process. And yeah, all shareholders are now cash. And then the new acquirer, which was a joint venture between a Norwegian and a South African media company, Naspers, acquired the business. It's a listed company.
hmm
And so, yeah, I mean, the transaction, from zero to 600, it was a very slow start, right? You're in Latin America. There's no venture capital in 2009. It's an emerging ecosystem. I didn't go to Stanford. I didn't have the Rolodex. And so basically it was just hustle, and getting a few early investors to believe in us. 30 no's until that first yes. And then we ended up kind of piling on some great local investors, and then growth investors from the States.
So 2009 was launch of that company, and when did you sell it?
2019, it was a 10-year journey, a decade. And I would say it launched in 2009, but for the first 2 years, it was ramen and everything else, right? So we couldn't raise money for the first 2 years. I actually sold my apartment that I had, my only asset, and put all the money into the business. So you
How
can
much?
imagine.
How much was that?
The apartment, I sold it for about $230,000, more or less. Which was a nice apartment in Colombia.
Yeah,
But I don't know what that gets you in Beverly Hills.
that's hysterical. Okay, so apartment sold. Now you keep saying we. What were your co-founders like?
So there's two co-founders. My business partner Thomas, who I had met in Colombia. We were both paying a fine for immigration because we'd overstayed our visas. And so I was teaching English at the time to pay the bills. And then I saw his German passport, had a student that wanted to learn German. And I'm like, hey, do you want to teach some German classes? Obviously that wasn't in the cards, and we both had bigger ambitions. And then we ended up starting a handful of different initiatives that kind of evolved into the real estate business.
Yep. And now, before we get into Latitude, the equity conversation is always a tough one with co-founders, right? So how did you guys approach that back in 2009? Or did you just say, you know what, we don't want to do this now. Let's just split it 33, 33, 33.
Yeah, I mean, having now been an investor in many companies, you're right. That's not like, and I think that like, exact equal equity isn't always the best approach. It turned out that I actually put more money into the business, so I ended up with a little bit more equity. So I helped fund the initial, early days. Like my college roommate, I got him to write a check. We were college roommates. He started a business. I was going to join him, and then I chased the girl in Colombia. Living in San Diego, met there. She likes to say she imported me to Colombia. That's where we started. And, he ended up selling his business at 27. And so he was sitting around his pajamas at 10 in the morning, trying to figure out what to do with his life. So he was our first check-in. I brought him in along with, my uncle, my brother, and my dad. We all kind of financed the business in the early days. So I ended up with a little bit more equity. So that kind of took care of, that's how it handled.
Well, and it made it clear sort of how decisions were going to get made quickly. It sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, in general, like I don't think we really had any incidences where like there was a big debate about what to do. We were always just kind of put a lot of trust in each other in terms of where the business needed to go. But yeah, it worked out. It worked out well. We have a great relationship.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you had, if you took the risk early and you reaped the rewards, right? You had call it 30, 40% of the business, maybe more, and you sold for 600 million bucks cash. Why the hell are you on a podcast right now? Why aren't you on a jet somewhere?
First of all, I know you're trying to get the exact amount, what the net proceeds were. I didn't own 30, 40% of the business. I wish I did. But
the dilution, I forgot you guys raised a bunch, right?
Yeah, we raised a lot of money, and
still though, even if you get down to 10%, 5%.
Yeah. We'll let you use your imagination, but I mean, it was a good transaction. I'm happy about it. Early investors made a lot of money. Why am I on a podcast? I'm out hustling a book, man. I got a book that's coming out, Viva the Entrepreneur. It's all about, starting, scaling, and raising venture capital in Latin America, which is something that I got my ass kicked early on, and eventually kind of figured it out. And so now I'm kind of passing on those lessons. I think that there's an incredible opportunity with over 700 million people in Latin America. Today there was one of my good friends, David Velas, just announced that they raised 400 million at a $25 billion valuation. For the world's largest neobank, Nubank. That's fresh, hot off the press this morning.
Yep.
So there's a lot of activity in the region. I'm launching this book, and then we have a little rolling fund that we're going to launch at Latitude to kind of reinvest in those early stage entrepreneurs and help founders navigate the challenges of building a venture-backed business in the region.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. There's the book, the rolling fund, Latitude. Why don't you first explain in more detail what Latitude is doing? You explain it to me as sort of like the YC, but for Latin America.
I would say it's like YC and AngelList having a Latin baby.
Yep.
That's my quick summary.
Yep.
Right now we're basically helping dozens of entrepreneurs navigate the early stages of their business. We host 25 sessions over a month period, bringing in amazing mentors from the Valley and other places, top entrepreneurs in Latin America that have done it before. And then we're snapping a fund on top, which is going to go live here shortly. Just getting our first LP commitments from only LPs are founders that have built big business in Latin America, or GPs of top funds in the US or globally. And then that's the book is kind of part of the process. So those are the kind of the three the trifecta, I guess you'd say.
Why rolling fund? I mean, this is a hot thing in the press today, but you could argue there are much more effective ways to get capital into Latin American companies than having a rolling fund. So why choose a rolling fund?
I don't really want to deal with the management of all of the back office stuff. And secondly, I like the fact that I can go on and raise capital, externally. Like, if anyone's listening and they want to become an LP, happy to, hear more about them. And, so for me, it's an easy way to get going. It's also, we'll see how it evolves, right? Like for me, it was just a simple thing to get going. I like also the nature of the rolling aspect of it, because we're doing cohorts. So it tucks in nicely to have, when you've got a segment of entrepreneurs that are coming through, 10, 12 entrepreneurs that are building their businesses, you can get exposure to each batch. So it lines up pretty nicely with what we're building as well.
12, so about 12 founders per cohort?
Yeah, we're right now we actually have, right now it's almost like an NGO, because I'm just funding this operation where there's 8 of us My co-founder, Gina Godhill, ran Duolingo, grew it from 3 to 300 million users. My other co-founder is the CTO of a venture-backed business in Brazil. The three of us, along with a team of 5 other people, we're basically just helping founders for free right now. We're selecting the cream of the crop, the best entrepreneurs that are building the biggest ideas, and we're running through this program. We don't take any equity at the moment.
All virtual, I imagine.
All virtual, remote first, and we're doing that. And then we're gonna start investing in some of these companies. Probably in the second half of the year, we'll start formalizing our investment for specific terms, taking around a 3 to 10% equity in these companies and investing between 50 to 250,000. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, we want to build a bunch of products as well. I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't want to just sit back and invest. I want to build some cool shit.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the angel investments you've done. Pick a baby. Which one are you most excited about?
Well, I mean, there's the ones that I have been excited about because I got cash in the bank, and the ones that I'm excited about moving forward.
No, moving forward. Do the moving forward ones.
Okay, all right. I think last week or two ago, a company called La House in Colombia raised a $35 million Series B. I was fortunate enough to invest in the team there very, very early on, kind of pre-seed, and then I invested in the subsequent rounds. And that company is doing extremely well, and I think they have an enormous market. We look at the comparable business to that business in China is a $70 billion market cap company. Obviously, Latin America is not China, but if you take the aggregate of the region, it's an enormous. It's twice as large as India when you look at the GDP. And so there's an enormous opportunity. And I'd like how they're going to pick up where I left off on the real estate side.
What about bootstrapped ones that haven't raised, but they're growing like crazy?
I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite here, right? There's a handful of companies that have done that. I'd have to think about it, but any particular sector you're interested in?
No,
I know you're a software.
This is your expertise, man. I'm just curious. In Latin America, what bootstrap founders do you really respect?
Well, there's a bootstrap founder that he ended up raising a little bit of money, but he was the ultimate bootstrap founder. He did go through YC, and then he's built an education company. It's called Quero Educação, and they've done extremely well. There's it's hard to rattle them off right now, but I'm very excited about a bunch of companies that are building great businesses.
All right, take us home here. You wrote a book. Most books, business books, you get through the first 3 pages, you get about everything you need, you put it down, you forget about it. Why are people going to read your whole book?
Yeah, I think it's the first account of like an intimate reflection of the challenges of building a business in Latin America, a venture-backed business. And I think, when I started my business, there wasn't a lot of role models that had built businesses in our region, tech companies. The one that stands out is Mercado Libre, which is today it's a $90 billion market cap company. Marcos Galperin and Hernan Caza, along with Nick Sakazi, who the last 2 were investors in my company. They, I guess all of them were because they were investors in the fund. I read a case study from them at Stanford about their business when I had the idea for my business. And so just that inspiration behind like reading that and being like, oh, this is something I could do. Why don't I build the Mercado Libre of real estate? So I think that's the thing that I hope hits home with founders is that they expand the size of their ambition. They have someone that understands and has a little empathy with like the challenges and the intricacies of building a business in the region. And hopefully it inspires a lot more founders to build great companies.
Brian, where can they get it?
It's going to be on Amazon. February 2nd is the date that it hits Amazon. So
it's live now because this will be coming out after that. So check it out on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. Wonderful.
Brian Requarth, thanks for taking us to the top.
Okay, thank you, man.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know